when you're looking for purchasing a live scan device, the first thing you should take in consideration is knowing your vendor.
Mhm.
I'm not just because you saw some vendor on YouTube and think the person is pretty cool, but really knowing the vendor and knowing what the organization is all about.
Mhm.
Now, how can you do this here? Contact the agency who's in charge of your particular state to learn about what they recommend and who they recommend for vendors for that particular state you reside in to do fingerprinting. Reach out to the vendor, call them. Is a voicemail message? You're playing phone tag a lot. Is there communication devices, some type of email put in place? Is some type of chat message service put in place? Figure out how the customer service works before you even considering writing that check or giving that credit card to purchase that light skin device. You want to make sure if things go sideways, you have a way of reaching out to them, but they could get you taken care of. So that's part of the process you take in consideration. Just one of many tips you take in consideration when you think about purchasing a live skin device for your business or for your organization. And that's extremely important because you want to make sure you can reach them when you need them there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
How about you folks? Any tips you have out there?
Sure. Yeah. You need to also research the equipment that you're gonna need because
Exactly.
when you meet that salesman, he's gonna try to sell you everything that's on that list. And you got to realize when you first starting out doing live scan, you basically need just the basic necessity items to start. You always want
Yes.
to contact that vendor later if you need to purchase items. If you need to add items on to your existing items, you can always do that. But don't go in there and drop like you got millions and drop 10 or 15 thousand dollars because you got to take into consideration too how long is it going to take me to get this money back?
Mhm.
Because that credit card bill gonna come every month. As soon as you charge, you got, you got 3 days and it's on the way.
Oh, they're going to get their money.
It's on the way, and it's gonna be with interest. So you got to think
Yes.
ahead of the game as to okay, if I invest this here, how am I gonna get it back? If I do, I really need all of these items that this person is saying I need. Also, it's never hurt. Have contact more than one vendor. Let them know. Listen, I've contacted vendor A. I contacted vendor B. Now you're vendor C. What can you do that vendor A and B can't do? Sell it. Make them work for your money.
That's right. Do your homework.
Yes,
Do your due diligence. That's right.
yes, yes. So that's my biggest point. Make sure you don't buy what you don't need, and if you do need it, you just remember you always can go back and buy it later. You don't have to try to
True.
stock the entire refrigerator with T-bone steaks in the beginning. Eat a little bit of chicken; it ain't gonna kill you. You know,
Go ahead, Carey. Go ahead.
you're
I
not
want to
gonna.
jump into that. I'm pick back what you just said there. When you contact other vendors, just because they offer live scan devices for your particular state
Mhm.
doesn't mean the live scan device is the same. They
Mhm.
may have a live scan device model B, I mean, called a live scan device called Carry device. They may have a different one called live scan device Carry 2, but it's different type of devices for live scan. Even though it's made by the same manufacturer, there's different type of models, there's different type of brands.
Mhm.
So when you compare these devices, make sure you're comparing the same apple with the apple, not just different oranges.
Mhm.
Because when you buy your live skin equipment, you're looking at several factors. The live skin device itself, is the older model, is there a newer model? You know, you want to make sure the laptop, if it comes with the laptop, are you allowed to use your own laptop, which we don't recommend. Use theirs for tons of reasons I could speak all day about. Just make
Mhm.
sure you get the same comparison. And just because this one here said we give you a live skin device here for $2,000, but in the back end you're gonna pay us a monthly fee. That's gonna cost you a lot more in the long run.
Mhm.
So be able to get a good package where you're able to cover it yourself and it fits your business model and you stick with your business model or your business plan, go for it. But don't fall for the cheaper because something end up biting you in the long run or very shortly there afterwards.
Right. Right.
And don't overspend on a device. You might spend maybe $6,000 or $7,000, but you see one that's looking at you, that's 15 grand. Or the
Right.
package is 15 grand, but you don't need it.
Right. Yeah.
Stick with the basics. Make sure it works for your business model and go from there. It's very important. Very important. What
And
about you, Maumba? What you got up your sleeves? She got a whole bunch of knowledge for. She trying to stay
No, right
quiet.
now. But I do agree with both of you guys. I don't have nothing else to say.
It makes a
You
big
guys all
difference here.
said.
All right. And Carey also mentioned, I should put it, the salesperson has a good sales pitch.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was one of our biggest mistakes when we first got started with fingerprinting. It wasn't me. It wasn't me who said, go ahead and get it. It was the other folks, not me. It wasn't me. But their ego got in the way, or their emotions got in the way. Not my pride, not me, because I was making it work. It wasn't me. I just happened to be there.
Yeah.
But our egos got in the way, buying a licensing device that does this, and this here. In the real world, we didn't have all those extra add-ons, all those extra flavors. It wasn't needed. You get your live skin here, you get yourself this cover goes on top of the live skin, keep from getting scratched up. All I need is a cloth.
Right.
You get the light skin device right here, it keeps the glass nice and warm. You just plug it into the inside of it, and you plug into the wall, and your glass is nice and warm, but be no halo effect. You don't need that. If you do mobile services, you can't plug in the wall most of the time. You might be someplace out remotely.
Yes.
So all these extra things they try and get you to buy, you won't even need it. You need this case. So when you do mobile service, you get this big old 10-foot case to keep from getting scratched. People are spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars for these cases, and you're not going to a desert storm. You're not going to the war. You can pack up a whole different way. Maoumba, I know you got your bag someplace there.
I have it right here.
I told you she's ready, folks. She's ready. But you get yourself another bag. Look, something like a lunch bag could be more like a camera bag. So there you go. To put it in, they keep it protected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to say one other thing too. I've been in business now for almost 8 months, and a lot of people don't realize ink cards. A lot of people and companies are still using ink cards.
Yeah.
Since the 8 months I've been in business, I've used my live scan one time.
Whoa.
One
Staying
time.
busy doing the ink cards, huh? And what state are you in?
And I'm in Florida, where a lot of people require live scan. But the thing of it is, you have to ask yourself, is this something that if I'm starting a new business, can I possibly wait 2 months and see am I going to really have a desperate need to go into $8,000-9,000 worth of debt? Or can I take that $8,000-9,000 and revert it into something that's going to be more profitable for me now? And that's not trying to give any information as to telling someone what to basically do with their own business. But these are the type of questions you have to ask yourself. Because like I said before, when you meet that salesman, think about what his first name is. Salesman. He's there to sell you. He's there to sell you. And he gonna make it seem like you need the moon, the patio, the beach, the pool, the whole backyard, everything. So like I say, do your homework, do your research, get information from 2 or 3 salesmen so you know exactly what it is you're needing for your own special needs. Determine what is best for you and yours. Don't just follow the leader and go out and get into $10,000. And then you got a whole drawer full of stuff that's sitting there gathering dust. And guess what? You can't sell. Nobody. It's yours.
That's true.
It's yours. So just do your homework and think about more than just the now. Look at the future. Look at how far down the road. Like I say, even with my case, I haven't used it once. I know the type of platform that I'm building this time next year. I'm gonna be under 100 live scans because I know I'm building myself and my business up to do more live scans. But like in business, you got to crawl before you walk. And you always remember, ink cards do sell. But live scan, yes, it's the future. Yes, it's gonna be more eventually over the next probably couple of years, the way how digital and everything is going. Yes, it would be a thing whereas it would be just as simple as you putting your debit card into an ATM machine.
Yes.
for live scans. Because a lot of companies with identity theft and everything else, they're gonna go away from ink cards.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you more secure base when you do live scans.
Yeah.
So, but you just do your homework. Just do your homework.
And part of the homework this is contacting your state. In most states, people can do live scan, but just because they're doing live scan in that particular state, they reside in, doesn't mean that they're doing live scans for that particular state. It might be for a different reason. They may be having a live scan device because the eel got in the way, but they're really doing ink card fingerprint. They're just capturing fingerprint on an electronic device and hitting the print button.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think you want to do live scans in your state, make sure before you purchase that device, you could transmit those fingerprints to your state for a state required background check for the state that you reside in. Okay, most states have just one vendor that does the transmissions to that particular state for a background check for those in a job or a professional license in that particular state. So please do your due diligence. And for those who are members of the association, you guys call us all the time. We have chat sessions all the time. And also, when you get your live scan device, you're about to buy one, we always encourage our members to schedule time with us. So we go over your invoice line by line by line, like I did for you guys myself personally. I do recall that. We went to every single line on that invoice to make sure this is what you need, or don't buy this despite what they said. Don't get this right now.
Yes.
Carey share with you folks, you can get it later on if you need it. Don't buy all that extra stuff right now, if you don't need it. You don't if it's hailing outside your backyard for the next 6 months, don't invest in the pool right now. If it's freezing right now for the next 3 or 4 months, don't invest in the pool right now. It doesn't make business sense. Okay, then if you live in Alaska, don't buy yourself a swimming pool
At all.
at all. But just because someone's doing it out there in Hawaii or out there in California, kicking back in the jacuzzi, something like that, it might be the best for you.
Mm-hmm.
You might have a lake in your backyard. You don't even need a jacuzzi. But just make sure you do your homework and check with the state agency who's in charge of license for that state. And make sure you can do it before you invest. Check with those agencies who's in charge of license for the state and ask them, hey, which license vendors out there that sells equipment for this particular state has the most positive response from those who buy the machines. And they'll share that with you. They're not going to tell you who don't buy it from, but they may share with you what the people in the industry say. Hey, this one has a good reviews. This one here has a positive response for a lot of people I talk to. Talk to them though.
Yeah.
But do not spend an arm and a leg just because somebody told you can make $10,000 next month or the next day.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Do your homework. Follow your game plan. Stick with your game plan, and think realistically. If you're not sure, hey, get a resource you could work with, like the National Life Scan Association. Become an active member and network. Post your questions in the community. You get a lot of feedback there.
Yeah.
And for our community, it's livescancommunity.com. livescancommunity.com. All spelled out, all together. I had to put the plug in there, folks. I had to put the plug in there. But do your homework, get engaged, research everything, do a lot of comparisons. And when you think you know a lot about it, give us a call. And we break you right back down to the real world to make sure you're doing the right thing that's best for your business there.
So true.
That is true. We're trying to keep it real. And I made plenty of mistakes early on buying a live scan device. We bought things like I shared with you that we really didn't need it and still don't need today. We got vendors, some of the machines we have, that the service is piss poor. And I'm just keeping it real. We got some other different machines that we have, and the service is immaculate. So it makes a big difference. It really does make a big difference there. Another tip I shared with you folks here, a lot of folks contact us and say, hey, you said live scan devices might cost me this much in Florida as an average price. I got one on eBay for $1,000. You were wrong. So congratulations. You got yourself a $1,000 paperweight.
Exactly.
And this here go back and forth with this. We just listen to understand. Call FDLE, call Florida and see what they say. And call us back and let us know what they say.
Yeah.
They never call us back.
Yeah, they have to listen to the experts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Avoid buying used machines. Avoid buying stuff from eBay. Your best bet is to work with your state and just have a list of vendors to go through.
Mhm.
Okay, just don't, because it's cheaper on eBay or you saw somebody selling at $10 on YouTube or you try to buy someone else's business and equipment. Don't do it until unless you talk to the government entity for that particular state to make sure that license device is not deactivated. You
Oh
have to
yeah.
Mhm.
make sure the license device is approved for that particular state.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make sure the license device might be approved for that particular vendor who's approved for that particular state. I could
Mm-hmm.
go on. You have to make sure the laptop is still okay. It might be Windows 7. It might be
Yes.
Windows 10. There's some software might not work with that one there, or the state might say, you know what, Windows 7, we don't support no more. No
More.
more live scans from that device that's still Windows 7, or what the case may be. It makes a big difference.
Yep.
Or, we could turn the license device on for you, but they owe us $20,000. So until you
Yeah.
pay the $20,000 for that machine that's attached to that account, you got a nice paperwork, you just can't use it. Things like that may pop up. This is the truth. It may
Yeah.
pop up because you're trying to save some money because you bought something on eBay.
Yep. That's true. Gotta
They don't
cheat.
hear me. They don't hear me.
Gotta
Or
cheat.
they have to take the training. Take the training in the classes. They will learn more.
And that's right. Folks, do your homework. Don't let your emotions and ego get in the way. Follow your business model. If you don't have it, you have some type of business model before you even jumped into fingerprint. If you have some type of plan to work with, it
Mm-hmm.
could change along the way. You should have some type of guidelines for your business model. Carey, Maoumba, I promise you they got theirs before they even contacted us. They have theirs. They did the research. They called around. We got drilled for 10 hours interrogation from them. Look where they at today.
Yeah.
Just this year alone.
Mhm.
Get involved in the National Life Skin
Yeah.
Association. We have other videos that's also listed here in the description section to go to about purchasing live skin devices. It's just very important. But overall, avoid from being scammed. Don't
Yes.
get punked. Don't let me take advantage of you. Stand your ground because this is your business. And remember, you're the president or the CEO of your organization. Don't feel like somebody's trying to make you pay for something. Their job, like Carey also said before, they're salespeople. Now they might try and change their name. I'm a sales executive. I'm a account representative. Because I don't care what it is, they're still going to try to sell you a machine.
Selling me. Yeah.
It's still a sales. They're still going to sell it to you. And that's their business model to sell, and they
Mhm.
can make it sound good. The grass is green over there and everything, but that grass might be spray paint. It might be green, but it might be spray paint. And yes, I saw that happen before where people were actually spray painting the grass green. Okay. But just be careful, folks. That's all we're trying to say. Don't fall for the hype. Don't break out that credit card, that checkbook because you think you could do it that fast, that soon. Don't. And I think credit out and shout out to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. A lot of folks will contact them trying to get started doing a live scan, and they sit there some time and ask you a lot of questions to make sure this is what you're going to do and that you're aware of the pros and cons of the industry. And I respect that for them. I wish other state entities would do the same thing. But for
Mm-hmm.
FDLE, they do that in those cases. And I'm happy to say that. There are very good folks out there for FDLE, and they're pretty good.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts on that, Maumba? We're going to get you to talk. We know that.
I mean, you got. I mean, pretty much. Yes, as you guys mentioned, they have to do the homework and make
Mm-hmm.
sure that don't be hype with those social media sending your devices because a lot of time it's the wrong information and they will say that just for the sales and they're not going to give you the training how to utilize the machine, what to do, what's the process, what not to do in the machine. So make sure you got to do your homework. That's what I
Mhm.
did.
Understand.
I did my homework. I make sure I know the laws about my state, which is in Florida, and make sure you just like they mentioned, just do your homework.
What did you take in consideration, Maumba, when you purchased your light skin device? What questions did you have to yourself or that you contemplated before you purchased your light skin device for Florida?
So, well, when I did the training with the vendor, he pretty much showed me what to do, what not to do, and also learn some of the terminology of the ridges. And
Mm-hmm.
let's say that if you do scanning And if it does get rejected, it tell you why, the reason why, which number to look for on the devices. So you don't want to purchase something and you don't know what to look for on the devices. Let's say that you're taking the scanning and then you realize why it keep rejecting all the time. Sometimes when
Hmm.
it's rejected, it means that sometimes the machine is not the same as you do on the ink card. So yeah, there's still some stuff you have to look for when you're scanning the customer handprint. So
Okay.
to have a good vendor is very critical because they will give you the proper training, what to do, what not to do. Always make sure before you start, make sure you open your laptop. You never know you're gonna have some updates. You don't want to start doing your fingerprint and then hold on 1 second, customer. I gotta do some updates. So they teach you some tips what to do and not to do pretty much.
Yes. Yes. And Carey, what factors did you take in consideration before you invested? I think they say we're spent your money, but more, what did you invest before you invest in your business, getting a licensed device? What did you take in consideration?
Well, in my case, I looked at the product and I researched the product to see approximately how long it had been in business. You
Good.
know, what type of reviews the product itself was receiving outside of the vendors, because you can take in the name of any product and find out about it, the model number, and so on and so on. And so that was my major concern. That at first I was a little surprised about the price, because at first, obviously with a new business, you starting out, you want to look at that. Your main goal is your budget, you
Mhm.
Yes.
know, and so, and then you have to take in consideration once you started to do the live scan, you have to look away from the computer, from the scanner, and
Mhm.
then you have to go and see what the state requires you and how much you got to have financially to cover those fees
Oh yes,
and all
absolutely.
that stuff there. So you have to basically include that in the price of your live scan. So you have to sit down and figure, okay, if this scanner for just the computer, laptop, and the scanner, if it's going to cost me 6,000, I got to spend another 1,000 or 2,000 with the state. I'm at 8,000 right now, and do I have enough income to cover that?
Yep.
Because like I say, credit card gonna come, and you can have that. Yeah, a credit card company will, if you when you get an EIN number, it ain't nothing for a credit card to give you $100,000 credit. That's nothing. They want you to have $100,000 credit card. They want you to. I'm serious. It's a no brainer. And they'll give you, yeah, you $20,000. You go spend 2,000. We'll give you 2,000 for if you go spend 20,000 within 190 days or 30 days or whatever. That's all another story. But anyway, you have to look at the overall budget for everything that you're having in front of you. And like I say, you have to make sure that you are going to be financially able to say, okay, this is what I need. That's why I told you, only purchase what you need in the beginning. And you
Yes.
always can go back and add things on. But those were my major factor, the cost and doing the research of the product and making sure that the product was going to work in my area.
So if I understand you correctly, besides just the price of the equipment, you actually take in consideration the other investment you may have, the fees, the credit card, Mr. and Mrs. American Express and Visa and MasterCard, and the
Yes,
cousin Discovery. They will come knocking at your door and want their money. So you
yes, they
might
would.
get the machine, but just like buying a house, you might get into a house, but you have to look, what type of race did you pay for it? It might
Exactly.
cost you more in the long run on a short period of time. So
Mhm.
make sure you do your business the right way. Take in consideration all the factors, not just how much it costs to get the machine delivered to your doorstep. Are they going to charge you additional monthly fee because it's really their machine? You're just renting it out. Or are you going to pay for the machine yourself up front? Are you going to finance it? Are you going to use a credit card? Are you going to pull from 401k? You get a business loan. Different
Right.
things you take in consideration. 'Cause all that stuff does add up. And then how much your profit margin is going to be per person on average. How much you're going to
Exactly.
charge. What does Uncle Sam want at that live scan fee also,
Exactly.
all this to take in consideration. So when
Hmm.
folks say I'm doing $10,000 a month in sales and stuff like that, but they got expenses. How much is
Exactly.
their marketing?
Exactly. Exactly. And Me personally, I haven't met that person yet to do $10,000 a month. Haven't met him yet. I'm looking for him, but I have not shook his hand yet.
Mhm.
Because they didn't tell you. Say, for instance, the government fee might be $61.25, and that's for Florida for medical folks doing ALCA. So I made $100 fingerprinting somebody. It was a nurse. Okay then, but $61.25 went to Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
You still have to pay the transmission fee.
Yeah,
There's all this other fees they'll talk about, and you travel way out there
there to
for
do it.
mobile service and then cover your costs. Gas is not cheap these days. Last time I checked,
Nope.
So take this into consideration when you buy your equipment. All that comes into play. If you want to do live scan right now, the cash flow is kind of tight. Carey will share with you. So the Maoumba, ink card fingerprinting. So while you build up your market doing ink card fingerprinting, put some cash to the side and do live scan. Carey does more ink cards in Florida. Florida has live scan vendors everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere. But
Yeah.
there's a niche for ink card fingerprinting. I know we're talking about live scan, the business model, and purchase the machine, but some folks want to buy a live scan device just to print out on ink cards and start off. I'm going to say no. I don't recommend it unless you got the volume.
Mhm.
One of our instructors has a very fat contract for a couple large agencies in his state where he's at, where you had to buy a live scan device to get the extra add-ons to print out on ink cards. But he's still doing ink card fingerprinting on a live scan device. He's not transmitting, he's hitting the print button. But the volume that he has, he's printing all the time. He's making money, okay? He's making money, but it's still ink cards.
Yeah, and you have to, especially living in Florida, you have to realize even when you go after these large corporations, whether it be in the healthcare industry or other industries, where you're gonna try to live scan multiple customers for fingerprint service. For instance, you go to a nurse facility, they may have 50 nurses on staff. But guess what? When those nurses get ready to be fingerprint, most of the time the company is making them pay for their own service. The company is not picking up that. They're not offering the type of benefit for that. They're not picking it up for that. And when you tell them what you want them to charge, they were like, no, I'll just give them the ORI number and they're responsible for going somewhere and let them eat the cost. And a nurse is not gonna pick. It's hard for a nurse to pay me $200 to do a fingerprint, a live scan. But she can call me and do a ink card with the same ORI number for half that price and get the same results. So
True.
that's why I think ink cards, in order for live scan to get to, in my opinion, to get to the level where you're making 10 grand a month, ink cards will really have to fade completely almost out. Whereas they're leaving vendors and the public no choice but to get. We all going to have to require a live scan fingerprint for you to for any fingerprint company to make 10 grand a month. And some may be out there doing it, but I like I said, I'm yet to shake their hand.
Understood. Hey, folks, we want to thank you for joining us today here at the National License Association on